Well, heart is very important because it pumps the blood and the blood has to flow through the vessels. But heart is just a tool to pump it, but the function of the blood is somewhere remote, somewhere on the brain, somewhere on the muscle, somewhere on the screen, somewhere on the skin, where the blood has to ultimately deliver its products, the nutrients, the oxygen, pick up the carbon dioxide, pick up the excretory products. So as far as the cardiovascular system is concerned, the real action is happening at the capillaries. Where is it happening? At the capillaries. So you need to take the blood from the heart, of course, because of the heart, okay, but you need to take it to the capillaries. So now another maybe this lecture and a part of next lecture we will try to focus on what is hemodynamics. It is actually a system of pipes, okay, and those pipes, but it is not a single pipe, that pipe branches, and then the pipe becomes smaller and smaller, and then very small, and then finally it now forms capillary bedworks, bedwork, and then the capillaries then get together and form the venules, hello, and then the veins, okay, and then it goes back to the heart, okay, and then from the heart to the pulmonary system for oxygenation and come back, and it keeps on. So we are going to read about, see that fluid has viscosity, okay. Given the certain volume of system that we have, you have to pump the blood with certain pressure. Then the walls have to be elastic. Some of the walls have to sustain the pressure. Hello, those particularly those blood vessels which are coming from the heart, arteries which are coming from the have to sustain the pressure. Okay. Then the capillaries, which are so tiny and just made up of endothelial cells. Okay, endothelium is very tiny, capillaries are very small, we have already seen, they can just an RBC can barely squeeze through. Okay, very simple question. The blood, as you get this point, the blood as it enters into the capillary is under the pressure of about 30 mm Hg. 30 mm of mercury, 30 mm of mercury is not low. Okay, and what is the size of a capillary? What is the size of a capillary? 6-7 microns. Okay, thickness of a capillary is 1 to 2 microns, and there is no other covering, because if you put any other covering, it will obstruct your passage of movement, passage of goods inside and out. So how do you expect such a delicate tube to withstand the pressure of 30 mm Hg? Are you getting it? Okay, I'm only stating the problem. I'll give you the answer eventually. Okay, so these are some of the very exciting questions that will arise when we talk about how the blood is taken to the different organs, and let's try to get some insights into the just magical figures. Just read. Somebody will read there. Blood. Read. Blood circulates through the body. In a day, a total travels of about. Wow, what a feat. So if you are a single RBC, okay, you are a single RBC, you will be traveling so much, okay, within, okay. Now this is we are going to try to take a look at the how much blood where at any given moment. So what I am going to do, or what the author has done, is simply divided the heart into two parts and put them away for our convenience, okay. So at the other end you can see the right heart, okay, so far the right heart, okay, that's right, and that right heart is receiving what? Blood from everywhere. Sinus vena, it will go superior vena cava, inferior vena cava, okay, and under an average condition, how much of blood is being poured? How much of blood is being poured into the right heart there? Can you read for me there? 5 liters. How much is it? 5,000 per minute. That's the cardiac output we studied, past 2 lectures. It's about 5,000 ml. Okay. So every minute 5,000 ml or 5 liters of blood has entered into the right auricle. From there it has gone into the right ventricle. Now right ventricle has gone into systole, and the blood has gone into the lungs. So how can you read there? How much blood has gone to the lungs? Same, whatever has come, it's gone. How much is it? 500. I made a mistake. How much is it? 5,000 per minute. Are you okay so far? But just a small question. That pressure is the average pressure. Okay. The right ventricle, systole, diastole. Now I'm going to give you 2 numbers which I want you to learn by heart. 25, 8. 25, 8. 25, 8 means what? Means what? If I do the same experiment wherein I take a tiny a pressure transducer in your, so very small, and I leave it in your right ventricle. Where do I leave it? Right ventricle, and the right ventricle is undergoing systole, diastole. Okay. So, what range of pressures are you experiencing? How much? 25, 8, 25, 8, 25, 8. How much? 25, 8. It is not 120, 80. It is not 120. How much is it? Why do you think 25, 8 is okay? It is okay because after all you have to send the blood from the right ventricle to the lungs, and lungs are just on the side, on the left, and there are two lungs, I am very slight, and the blood vessels are extremely large, okay. So, you do not need to generate that much of pressure, okay. So, you send the blood, it comes back. How much comes back there? How much comes back there? So, okay. So, I said how much? 25, 8, okay. 25, 8, 25 plus 8 is how much? Whatever it is. The average is about how much? No, average is about how much? Mean is about 15 mmHg. That is the mean of systolic and diastolic pressure. How we calculate that, I will tell you shortly. Oh, then it goes to the lungs. From the lungs, how much blood is coming out of the lungs? Same volume has to come over a period of 1 minute. But what is the pressure now? Because it has been, the blood has been through the capillaries of the lungs. Now it is oxygenated. Hello, it is oxygenated. So what is the blood pressure, which was about 15? The average was 15 mmHg. It has fallen to how much? Say that everybody. 5 m. What is it? 5 m. So you measure the blood pressure of the blood that is going to the lungs. Mean is 15. You measure the pressure of the blood which is now going back from the lungs to the heart. Okay, same volume. What is the pressure? Good. So now the left heart is receiving about the same amount of blood. Okay, 5000 ml. Now this is left ventricle. The left ventricle is a very massive organ. And it is going to, now let us go back to our transducer, and every systole, diastole, what is our reading? 80, 120, very good, 120, 80, 120, 80. The mean is about how much? The mean is about how much? 104. Are you okay so far? Now with this, it is with this pressure, very high pressure, it is with this pressure the blood is now rushing into the aorta. From the aorta it will now branch, okay, it will branch, the aorta will turn, one branch, this branch will go to the shoulder, this branch will go to the neck, that branch will go to the neck, head, etc., etc. And it is going to, okay, so now we to brain, how much is going to the brain? 700. Coronary circulation means the wall of the heart, hello, coronary wall of the heart, how much? And kidneys, how much? Quick, kidneys, how much? 1000. GI system, alimentary canal is how much? 1250 something. Skeletal muscle is a very large. How much is it? 14 video skeletal. And then the skin is about how much? 375. Now, but please remember, these are very average figures. If you start running, okay, if you start running, then obviously that skeletal muscle, that 1450 may go to 1600, 1700, 1800. But if that goes up, then you have to reduce somewhere. So the one in the GI system may reduce from 1250 to, it may go to 1100, 1900. So actually what your body is doing, depending, it evaluates your requirement, and it will redirect the blood from the alimentary canal to your skeletal muscles. Okay. So but these are on an average, and okay. So as the blood enters into all these organs, what is the pressure like? 104. By the time it has been through the capillary network in all these organs, now it is heading towards the veins. What the blood pressure has fallen to what? Say that again. 4 mmHg. So the blood that is now flowing into the right heart is at about what pressure? 4. It has to be 4 and 3, because we always know that in the atria pressure is very low. If you want to pour the blood, the pressure better be low. Okay, so that the blood can flow in. Now, just as we have absolute numbers here, in the next one to make, yeah.
So earlier you mentioned that cardiac output increases when they exercise. So this.
Oh yeah, they can go up. All absolutely.
Even in that case, does the amount of blood going to all the other systems except skeletal muscle fall below the?
Which one? No. You see, I'll tell you what. All these numbers can go up by 2 or 3 times or 4 times. Okay. Then the body has to decide as to which organ of mine has a greater need at the moment. Accordingly, it will divert the blood in that part. Oh, but I forgot to mention one very interesting thing. You remember that. Remember this point. The amount of blood that is flowing through the kidney doesn't vary much, as if it is insulated from the changes. because the body wants, the kidney wants that I am going to undertake the function of ultrafiltration. That ultrafiltration always remains, I have to remain it as, keep it as steady as possible. Therefore, the volume and the pressure through which the blood is going through the kidney is generally very constant, but don't worry about it. I'll talk about it when we do the excretory system. Yeah.
This might be an oversimplification,
Huh.
but for the blood to keep flowing,
Uh-huh.
there must be a gradient of pressure
Hmm.
for it to go
From where to where?
from any organ to the other.
Means we
So
must,
let's say from the lungs to the left
lungs to the,
ventricle.
okay. Oh yeah, yeah.
Must be a gradient of the maintained.
Oh, that 5 mmHg is there.
Because it is already so low. So
It does, okay. It is 5 mmHg because in the left auricle it may be 2 or 3 mmHg. It's still low. It's still low. The blood vessels are very large and it is continuously being pushed from the blood.
it is maintained at every.
Oh yeah, of course. Look, the gradient has to be there. If the gradient is not there, the fluid will not flow. Laws of physics will not allow. You have to have something. You have to have a pressure difference for the fluid to move. Does it happen that it doesn't move? It happens. And then we call that position as varicose veins. I'll talk about it a little later. Okay, varicose veins. Remember that word. Varicose veins. I'll talk about it. As a result of gravity, the blood tends to accumulate in the veins of particularly when in the case of senior citizens. Okay, the blood tends to accumulate in the veins, and then that is varicose. We'll talk about it. But otherwise, it has to move, and it has to move because gradient is there. Gradient has to be there. Okay, this is the same thing. Only in the earlier one we had absolute figures. Now the author tells us about the percentages. Are you with me? We are looking at, suppose out of the total 100% of the blood, how much is going to the brain, how much is going to the different organs. So let's move on. This slide is interesting, but we have done it. This makes a point that an organ should get the amount of blood as it requires. So we are now taking a very simple view of the entire system, where we have the heart. The heart pumps blood into the aorta, and then the aorta branches, and we'll call them. And this is the. I'll just make a statement. Let me see if we can make out. I'll say that this part of the system has compliance. What do I mean by that? Yeah. When will it expand? With every systole. Okay, and as the heart goes into diastole, okay, the semilunar valve will close. Okay, semilunar, but then this will contract. Who will contract? That aorta will contract. It will keep on pushing the blood. Okay, means, okay, I'll ask you a very simple question. If I make one of you has to answer the question. If that tube there, aorta there, if I were to make it without compliance, I'll make it a metallic tube. Okay, what will happen? You get the question? This tube there that is coming from the red one, which is coming oxygenated blood, which is coming from the left ventricle, oxygenated blood going to all parts. Okay, so it normally going 120, 80, 120. That's okay. We are okay with that. And then every time it's systole. Okay, and then when the heart goes in diastole, it keeps on flowing the blood. Now I am giving you an alternative. It's not a great alternative, but we are theoretically discussing it. What is the alternative I am suggesting? I am going to replace that word with a metallic tube. What will happen? Yeah.
Maybe there will be irregular flow of that. It will be faster when the pressure is higher.
Okay. I don't like your word irregular, but the rest of the answer is okay. You see, the heart has gone into systole, so the blood will come with pressure. Okay, but then it has gone into diastole. Okay, suddenly the blood flow will stop for a while. So then the blood will be in jerks. The flow will be in jerks. Are you with me? You can look at the metallic tube. Every time the heart goes, blood, no blood, no blood. Are you with me? Okay. Because of the compliance, even in the intermediate period between two systole, the blood keeps on flowing because of the compliance. Okay. And this is also called as pulse pressure. It's pulse. It's called as what? Pulse pressure. Okay. Then the second thing, these blood vessels are having blood under pressure. Okay. Okay, it's going as high as about 120 mmHg. So these vessels better have thick walls. Okay, supplied with large muscles, thick muscles. So it is like is in chemistry we have pressure tubing. Hello, you know what is meant by pressure tubing? You don't know what is pressure tubing? In our gas, at kitchen gas, the tube that goes from the cylinder to the stove, It better be thick. Are you getting my point? It better be thick. Why not? Why not? Because it is carrying gas under pressure, okay? Gas under pressure. If you use a thin tube, it will simply burst. Okay, so this is more like a pressure tubing. You see, it has to support a huge amount of pressure. Okay, and then we have the it branches, and then what we have arterioles here, and then arterioles, and then the arterioles will terminate terminal arterioles, and then they branch into those branches which will give rise to capillaries. We'll call as meta arterioles. What do you call it as? Meta arterioles. And just at the point where the meta arterioles finally give rise to the capillary bedwork, just ahead of that you will find a tiny smooth muscle sphincter. Smooth muscle sphincter. So, if you can control, if the muscle constricts, the blood will not flow in that particular capillary. Hello. So, as if we have a system in which the blood and we have millions of capillaries, and we have also a system in which you can decide whether your autonomous nervous system or your endocrine nervous system or your blood circulating system can decide whether I am going to allow the blood to flow through this capillary at the moment, yes or no. Okay. Yes or no. If it is yes, let the blood to go, otherwise stop it. Okay. It is very relevant, I will come to that a little later. And then the blood now goes into capillaries, and the capillary, remember one thing. Every cell in your body has to be either next to a capillary or next to a cell and then a capillary, and next to a cell and a capillary, but that is all. That is all. So, every cell is either 2 or 3 cells away from a capillary. You get it? It is not possible that a capillary is here and no. Every cell must have a capillary in very close, just 2-3 cells away. There must be a okay. Then secondly, you see all the so what do you have here? These are the capillaries. What are they lined with? Endothelial cells, single cell, flat cell, single cell, flat cell, and then those cells may also have what? Tiny gaps. Okay, through which the blood is under pressure. Okay. Maybe 30, 20, 25 or 10 mmHg pressure. I will talk about that. Now that, plasma oozes out. What did I say? Plasma oozes out. From where? From the endothelial cells of the capillaries. Okay. What is the length of a capillary? What is the length of this capillary from here to here? From here to here. Length of the capillary is at the most 1 mm, 1 millimeter, maybe less, maybe half, maybe 3/4, okay, 1 mm, tiny. So, it is a tiny tube, diameter is 7 microns, the length is less than a mm. Do not miss those figures, are you with me? And an RBC takes less than a second to pass through it, zip through it. How much? How much? Less than a second. Less than a second. So, during that second, whatever business it wants to do, it has to accomplish that business within 1 second. Okay, which means what? Releasing substances, absorbing substances, giving oxygen, taking carbon dioxide, taking ammonia, nutrients, secretory substances, everything. But I am not talking about that. Some of the plasma substances, plasma yes, but devoid of large proteins. Large proteins like albumin and globulin, okay, they are large molecules, they cannot come out of the capillary because they are too large. Okay, and also because of the charge in them, they can't come out. The smaller molecules like glucose, etc., they easily come out, and some of them they are treated in a very special manner. How they are treated, I will tell you. There is a mechanism for that. I'll talk to you. But some of it can get into what you call as lymph. What you call as what? Lymph. It contains WBCs. It doesn't contain RBCs. Therefore, we also call it as white blood. But the right word is lymph. Yeah, and then the lymph has a different system, and this tells us how the. So look at this diagram and tell me where does the lymph formation take place? Look at the diagram and tell me. Where? Capillaries. Where? Capillaries. Where? Say that loudly. Where? Capillaries. At the level of capillaries, the liquid part, the plasma part, certain part of the plasma which is devoid of large proteins. Okay, it starts flowing outside, and we will call it as lymph, and then there is a different pathway, and it goes again back to the it is again returned to the circulatory system. And this is important because, I will talk about it again, this is important because It contributes to the formation of extracellular fluid that forms the environment of every cell. Hello. Every cell has an environment, that's extracellular fluid. We have seen, how much of sodium, potassium, how much sodium inside sodium, we have done all that, okay. That's in the extracellular fluid. Extracellular fluid comes from where? There. Got the message? Extracellular, okay. All right. So then the blood will flow into the capillaries and into the post capillary venules and then they will merge and they will go, and here these vessels, should the wall of the vein be as thick and strong as that of the artery? No, you do not need to be, okay, because the blood pressure there is 5 mm, 5 6 2 3 4, you do not need to, okay. So, let us, with this background, let us move on. Yes.
So you mentioned that sphincter determines which artery, which capillary gets the flow, and that is determined by the autonomous nervous system. So is every sphincter also innervated by nerves?
We will talk about it a lot, okay. No, sphincters are generally, they are governed by products secreted by the cells. Okay. There are local secretions, okay. Adenosine is one of them, I will talk about it. It is a very familiar molecule, it has a very interesting role. They have adenosine receptors. Hold on, we will come to it. So, you can see a graphic of a artery there, okay, and that artery has, can you see there are 3 layers? Outer layer, tunica externa, tunica media, tunica interna. Tunica is a coat, okay. The tunica intima is, or the innermost coat, is also nothing but endothelium. No, please, endothelial cells are very special, huh? Just do not think that they form a tube and they allow the blood to, no, and they are very special because in the previous lecture I mentioned about a very small molecule. I said it is a profound role in it, a very tiny molecule. You remember that name of that molecule? I will give one more clue. Very good. Who said that? Very good. I am so happy, very happy. Yesterday I spoke about what? Say that again. Nitric oxide. Okay, it is a signaling molecule. It's a neurotransmitter. It's a gaseous neurotransmitter. We'll talk about it. Nobel Prize 1991. Great molecule. It's gas. Okay, which is the easiest source to have it? You tell me. Nitroglycerin. What is it? Nitroglycerin. Okay, but that's from outside. Okay, we have our own source of generating nitric oxide, and that source is nothing but endothelial cells. In your system, the innermost layer of your blood vessels, okay, are capable of generating what? Nitric oxide. Can somebody tell me what is the nature's logic in providing nitric oxides, endothelial cells as the source for nitric oxide? Yesterday we discussed the function. What function did we discuss? Blood vessel relaxation. What is it? Why would you give nitroglycerin tablet to a patient of angina pectoris? Why? Because his coronary circulation is not normal. So, you want the circulation to relax, therefore, you are giving NO. So, what is the function of NO? To relax the smooth muscles, to relax the blood vessels. Why will they relax? Because the smooth muscles will relax. So, can you, in that diagram, can you see the smooth muscles there, thick smooth muscles? So, that is what I meant by pressure tubing. So, do you find so much pressure tubing in the veins? Look at the image on the right, okay. And then on the right, something interesting you find. Can you see the valve? Okay, can you see the valve there? So, our veins have walls, our arteries do not have walls. Putting walls in the arteries would be a nuisance, okay. They will obstruct the flow of blood. But in the vein, particularly in your legs, okay, when there is when the aim of the heart is to make sure that the blood flows through your leg and it travels against the gravity, it goes back to the heart, okay. So, whereas the gravity tries to pull it down, our circulatory system wants to take it up, okay, and just to make sure that the blood still flows, therefore, our venous system is provided with what? Provided with valves, okay. And so just compare the thickness of those the middle layer, which is smooth muscles. Oh, very important. The middle layer, can you see that red middle layer there? What is that layer? It is a layer of smooth muscles. Have we discussed smooth muscles in this class? No. I will discuss it when I talk about the alimentary canal. I will have full lecture on the physiology of the smooth muscle. Good. But right now, just enough to tell you that we have smooth muscle lining into the smooth muscles into the tunica, what you call as media, and I just want you to compare the. So, whereas that tube is very good to handle pressure, this tube is actually very good to handle a lot of volume. It can expand, you know, it can stretch. The veins can stretch. Okay, can that stretch? No, they can't stretch. If they, it is a bad idea, because if they have to transport blood under high pressure. Now, as a result of that, get this point, as a result of that, at any given moment, in that vessel, which means in arterial system, okay, you have about 14, 15, 16, 17% of your blood. Volume is less, pressure is high. Whereas in the case of venous system, the amount of blood they will have may be about 70, 80% of the total blood is located at any given moment in the veins, but the pressure is low. Are you with me now? It's very interesting. The veins have far more volume. So, actually your venous system is your storehouse of blood. Are you with me? It's your storehouse of the blood. Okay? And it is under low pressure, as we have already seen. It's very interesting. Don't miss the point. I am talking about the sympathetic nerve supply, which comes from where? In the case of heart, we have seen that it comes from T1, T2, T3, T4. Hello, but actually heart is not the only organ. We have other organs also, like the stomach is there, alimentary canal is there. They are also. So the sympathetic nerve supply comes from T1, T2, T3, T4, T5, T6, T7, T8, T9, T11, T12. Are you with me? L1, L2. This is all the sympathetic supply will come from the spinal cord at that level. You absorbed the point? Hello, you got it now? Okay. Now they will give rise to preganglionic fiber, and then synapse somewhere, and then the postganglionic fiber, and the postganglionic fiber sympathetic is going to release what neurotransmitter? Say that again. Say that again. Norepinephrine. Okay, and that norepinephrine, lot of that supply will go to all the different kinds of blood vessels, and in the blood vessels they will supply the smooth muscles. So, whether you are in an artery or whether you are in a vein, if you are an artery, you have a thick layer of smooth muscles. If it is a vein, it is a thin layer of smooth muscles. But whether you are here or there, all those smooth muscles have a very, very rich supply of what? Postganglionic, sympathetic fiber, and they are going to release norepinephrine. Are you okay so far? Now, in front of you is a very interesting, don't miss it, a very interesting example of a blood vessel that is running through your alimentary canal. What do I mean by that? Okay, take the intestine, okay, and take a blood vessel that is going to the intestine, and then that blood vessel, it is showing in two different states. So, that is the blood vessel there, and that blood vessel is getting a nerve supply. Can you see that nerve supply there? There is a nerve supply in both, there is a nerve supply. Okay, and now and it's a postganglionic sympathetic nerve supply. So, you know that nerve supply is releasing what neurotransmitter? Norepinephrine. And who is receiving the norepinephrine? Smooth muscle. So, smooth muscle, will the smooth muscle have receptors for norepinephrine? Yes. What kind of? That's interesting point, I will come to that. Now, on the nerve, can you see those vertical lines? Okay. And can you see those vertical lines are there on the upper image also and the lower image also? Yes or no? Can you see the vertical lines? Are the two lines on the two images identical? What is the difference? The upper one, the frequency is more. Okay, that is one difference. And the second difference, do you find a similarity or differences between the diameter of the two tubes? What are the differences? The lower one is diameter is higher. Now, can you put 2 and 2 together, and can somebody tell me what is happening? High frequency signaling means that whenever the sympathetic nervous system is stimulated, it is sending more action potential per unit time, it is releasing more norepinephrine, which will bring about the constriction of the vessel. And if the vessel is constricting, then what will happen to the blood flow through the alimentary canal? What? Go down. What? It will go down. It will go down because the blood vessels are what? Constricting. Okay. Now, you see, I will go back to my very favorite example of you being, not a great idea, but I like the example, you being chased by a dog. Okay. So suddenly your muscle, the blood requirement of the muscle has gone up. Are you with me? Okay. Now the second point that, oh, stop. Before that I want to step back and make another point. When we talked about heart, we talked about innervation of a parasympathetic supply over the vagus. Hello, sympathetic supply over the T1, T2, T3, T4. So what we emphasize was a dual supply, and whereas the sympathetic nervous system will stimulate the heart, the vagus or the parasympathetic will inhibit the heart. We got it? Do not form the impression that the dual innervation is universal. No, no, no. Heart has dual supply, yes, but this blood supply, this vessel doesn't have a double blood supply. It only has sympathetic supply. Hello, are you with me? So don't be under the impression that every organ must have. No, 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 no. No, it is for the autonomous. So autonomous nervous system will have, in the case of heart, dual supply, yes. In the case of this blood vessel which is going through the alimentary canal, it has no parasympathetic blood supply. It has only sympathetic. It's only sympathetic. And how does it manage to control? It's very simple. When your body wants to constrict it, it will excite the sympathetic nervous system. Okay, constrict it. When you want to relax, then reduce the input of the sympathetic nervous system, then automatically it will relax. Are you with me? So just by the activity of sympathetic nervous system going up or down, you can very well regulate the diameter of the blood vessel and regulate the flow of the blood through any particular organ. You got the point? Hello everybody?